Eyebrows. I know. I painted mine on today. Can you tell? Hi guys. Hi guys. Welcome to Skulls and Stilettos. I'm Janine Stella, and joining us today is David Packouz, one of the most interesting people that I know. And I don't know you as well, but hopefully one day we will get to know each other a little bit better. But you are one of the most interesting people, and I think I'm really happy to have you on. So welcome. Yeah, you intrigue people. It's so interesting because now that now that I have put it out there that you'll be on the show today, so many people have reached out to me and they're just so intrigued. Number one, because they think it's a lot of the things that came up was politics back, what was going on during the time that everything was going on, gun running back in the day, right? So a lot of things were happening politically, and they're like, that's amazing that a young guy was able to do all this with the government, and it just shows the inconsistencies in the government then. I wonder how long people were doing that for. Like, how long were people doing what you were doing prior to you getting involved in that? That's pretty dumb, isn't it? I wish I took advantage of something. I mean, it was smart at the time, right? It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So let me share this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we're the same age. We're going to get into all kinds of stuff. You're an 82 guy like me. When's your birthday?
That's right. February 16th.
You're an Aquarian. That's why we get along so well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Must be.
Yes, yes. So, okay. Here we go. Most people know you from the movie. You were on my radio show last year with SoFlo Sass. So we'll talk about a little bit of that later. But I want to talk about what you are doing now. So fast forward a decade or so. You've got two products out. You've got Singular Sound, which is a company, and then you have InstaFloss, which I can't wait to hear about. Yes, Singular Sound.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about, I mean, I know from the last time you were on, but tell us a little more what's going on with Singular Sound today.
So Singular Sound is my company that I started after the whole War Dogs story happened. And for those who don't know, I'm a musician as well, and I create products for musicians. They're technology products generally, drum machines, guitar pedals, things of that nature that allows musicians to have like a full one-man band type of show just by playing by their singular self. And that's why it's called Singular Sound, because it enables musicians to, have like a full live band sound. So right now we're working on our next few products. A few of them are top secret, so I can't tell you about that. But we are also working on improvements to the software of our current products. So the products that we make have like updatable software. So even after you buy our products, they keep on getting better. We put out software updates that increases their capabilities and, add additional features and things like that. So that's what we're really focused on now.
And there are, correct me, there's over 20 different genres of music that one can use with the Beat Buddy, correct?
Right. So the Beat Buddy, so what you're talking about, the Beat Buddy is a drum machine in the form of a guitar pedal, which allows musicians who are using their hands to play their instrument to control a beat hands free. So they could, tap the pedal to do a drum fill. They hold it down to transition from like verse to chorus. So they have all these and additional other controls as well. So they have a lot of live controls of the beat. Before the Beat Buddy, pretty much your options were to have like a non-stop backing track, they call it, which is just like a track that plays in the background. You play along to it, but you don't have any live control over what it does. It's just a recording. There were some other drum machines that you could have some control over, but you need to use your hands for them. So you can't really play a guitar or another instrument while you play, while you use the drum machine. So the Beat Buddy, which was my idea that I had while I was under house arrest for the War Dog story and had a lot of time on my hands, was something I created to enable musicians to have live control of the beat. So when you buy the Beat Buddy out of the box, it comes with a whole bunch of different beats built in. Of those beats that are built in, we have 22 genres or styles of music, and each genre has like 10 different songs or like beat or beat arrangements, we call them. It doesn't actually have music, it just has beats, but it has like a verse, a chorus, transition, fills, things like that. So you can have like a live full song, using those beat arrangements. So there's 10 songs in each genre of the 22 genres that comes right out of the box. But we also are constantly making new beats, new genres that we make available for download off of our website. And we have a very active forum where other users of the Beat Buddy make their own beats and they post it for free on the forum. So there's constantly new beats and styles being created for the Beat Buddy. It's a whole ecosystem, a whole community that's built around it. And that was our first product. Now we have a few other products that are all, kind of in the same ecosystem of the musical, device. So we just came out with something called the Eros Looper, which is a looping device where it records your music and it plays it back in a loop. So you could like build different musical layers to your performance and, become a real one-man band. And that syncs to the Beat Buddy so that all your loops are in time to the Beat Buddy's beats. So everything sounds really tight. And, and it uses like it communicates, the products communicate with each other to do that.
I see. And this is a pretty brilliant idea in general. What inspired you to actually do that?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the first product, the Beat Buddy, that's as I said, I was inspired by I was under house arrest, for the whole War Dog story. And I couldn't play with other musicians, and I particularly missed playing with a drummer because the drums gives the music its energy. You dance to the beat in the music. If you take away the beat, the music sounds pretty lame. So I really wanted to play with a beat. I'm a guitarist. I recently started playing a bit of piano, but mostly a singer-songwriter with guitar as my main instrument. And of course, no drummer was going to bring over their entire drum set over to my apartment. And even if they did, it would wake up my entire neighborhood, and they wouldn't be happy about it. So, and I couldn't leave, to go to the studio where I would usually play with a drummer. So, so I bought a drum machine, which is, a device mainly designed for composing beats. You make beats on it, using the little buttons. Each button makes a different drum sound, and then it plays it back in a loop, and you could play along to that. But if you want the beat to change, you have to use your hands to press the buttons on the machine. And obviously that interrupts the rhythm of the music. So I had the idea of, why don't we take a drum machine and put it in a pedal format on the floor where you could, control it with your foot. And I thought someone already made it. So I went online to try to buy it, and nobody made it. So I made it myself, and it took me 3 years, but eventually it worked. And now my company sells it.
That's so neat.
That was the first product. Yeah.
I love that. So house arrest was inspiration. You're home. You're like, what do? You come up with this product, which is awesome. And now you have a website that people could purchase all of these products on. And then you go to trade shows, I see quite frequently. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, we used to before the pandemic, but
of course.
We used to do trade shows. We're at least scheduled to go to another trade show this January. There's the world's biggest musical products trade show in LA and Anaheim. It's called NAMM, which stands for North American Music Merchants, or National Association. I think it's National. I forget what it stands for, but it's a National Association of Music Merchants. I think that's it. And it's the world's biggest musical products trade show. Around 100,000 people usually attend. So we're scheduled to go this January to that. Hopefully, these variants don't shut it down. It is California after all.
Yes, this
So
is true.
wouldn't be surprised if it did get canceled. But hey, so yeah, we are scheduled to do that.
Awesome. And then
Yeah, and you mentioned the website. If anyone's
yes,
curious,
please.
you can go to singularsound.com right there. I'm making sure to keep that in the shot.
That's right. That's
I don't
right.
know if people are gonna be able to see that, but yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna have MacGyver, my sound engineer, put in it's singularsound.com. Is your
Correct.
website?
Yeah,
I'm gonna put that in the
singularsound.com.
comments. My good friend Justin is watching.
Yeah.
Skulls and Stilettos is number one. Justin, you're watching. Do you have anything to ask David while you're checking in? This is my dear friend who is the Titan FC that I've been telling you about, that I host a lot for the fighters. He does all the camera work and all the promo videos. So
cool.
Yeah. So if you have anything,
cool.
Justin, give it a shout out. So I am intrigued not only with what you have done your entire life, because honestly, we're the same age, and I feel like you've lived lifetimes. Literally. Yeah. I mean, you've done so much in such a short amount of time. Now you've developed InstaFloss, which, if you can tell from my Invisalign, I literally, first of all, I get them off in 4 weeks. I can't wait to actually have not cement bonds on my teeth, which would be great. But
congratulations.
Thank you. Having said that, I'm obsessed with flossing my teeth. In fact, I have done podcasts all about how I'm disgusted, how people do not have hygiene care in their mouth. It drives me insane. Like, I'll interview people and they'll have like food in their it drives me insane. So InstaFloss,
it's one of my pet peeves as well.
Really? It drives me insane. Like, I'll interview
absolutely.
a fighter and I'm like, did you not look at your mouth before you knew you were going to get on this interview? Like, did you not? I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
So, having said that, I saw on your website, is a family member, cousin / brother / someone is also involved?
He's my brother.
It's your brother. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what inspired you go from gun running to a musical product to a flossing device, which seems like a water pick, so to speak. So tell us all about that. InstaFloss.
Yeah. So InstaFloss is our latest and greatest, perhaps, I guess depends on, your opinion, creation.
Woo-hoo! For me, it's great. I will buy this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely a more mass market product. So the inspiration for InstaFloss came. Let me back up a little. We've, for the past 7-8 years, we've been making musical products. I think we've come out with 8 different products for musicians, and all under the Singular Sound company name. And one thing that so my brother Ellie, my younger brother, he's been my partner in my company since the beginning, and we always brainstorm. We hang out, we brainstorm ideas, new products, cool ideas, etc. And one complaint we always had about the music industry was that it's a very niche industry. Only like maybe 1% of the population is really a target customer for us. 10% of the population would consider themselves musicians, but only 10% of musicians actually buy high-end guitar pedals that we make. It's we don't make the cheapest stuff, but we make the best. And for that kind of market, it's a relatively small market. Now we do very well because our products are the best, and they provide incredible value to the musicians who use them, so they're happy to pay for them. But the target audience is relatively small compared to the population at large. So I remember, I'll just give you a little story. we were at NAMM, the big
Mm-hmm.
musical trade show that I was telling you that we're going to be going to this January. And, it happens every year. So we exhibit our products every year at that show. And they usually have a guest speaker who speaks to the associate, to the people who were exhibiting there. And one year they had Steve Wozniak, who was the co-founder of Apple,
That's
along with
right.
Steve Jobs. And so he was so Steve Wozniak was giving a speech, and it was a pretty large crowd. It was like maybe 1 or 2 thousand people who were listening to him speak. And he was saying, Apple, at Apple, we always focused on the creators, on the artists. That's why Apple became known, as the go-to standard for, visual artists, for musicians. And, we really put a lot of focus on that. And then one year, we realized that the general market, the non-creative focused market, the general market is just so much bigger. and so we should focus on that. And everybody laughed in the audience, but it was a very, very painful laugh. Everyone was like, yeah, Steve, that's really funny, Steve. Yes, you're right. We are in a very small industry. So, my brother and I, we always joke about that. I mean, don't get me wrong. We love our industry, and it's super cool to make, awesome products for musicians. And one thing that I personally find very gratifying about it is that I get to meet some of my musical idols. Once I had Mike Inez, who was the bassist for Alice in Chains, which is one of my favorite bands, and that I
Yes.
grew up. Yeah,
Of course, it's our
yeah,
generation.
yeah. So
Alice in
Mike Inez,
Chains.
bassist of, yeah, exactly, yeah. So Alice in Chains was one of the bands that inspired me to learn how to play guitar.
Wow.
I covered their songs in shows that I've done, ever since I was a teenager. It's just like one of like the big bands that I really, really love. And then Mike Inez, the bass player from this band, comes up to me at like one of our NAMM shows, and he's like, "Oh, you make the Beat Buddy? I just bought one of those a few months ago. I love it. I'm
No
writing all my new
way.
music on it." And I was like, like the guy who inspired me to play guitar is using my products to write his new music. It was just mind blowing.
That's
Just
insane.
super gratifying.
And I would
So,
like cry and
yeah.
smile and laugh and like cry.
Yeah.
Mostly cry. That's awesome. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. So it's super gratifying, and I love it. And I'm going to continue, obviously, making products for musicians, because it's I'm a musician, and I have a lot of new toys that I want to play with that don't exist yet. So that's kind of what I do. I make them. But my brother Ellie, he's not a musician. He's just he was more on the business management side of things, like helping me, organize this whole venture. And he's a very, very organized person, very, very intelligent, and very methodical. And so he's a very great partner to have. But we're always brainstorming different ideas, not just musical products, of like what would be cool if we made something like this or something like that. And one night we were hanging out brainstorming, and we were eating mango together. And how like mango, it's like, I love mango. It's one of my favorite fruits.
It's one of my
it
favorite.
really
I have
gets
one in my
stuck in your teeth.
refrigerator right now.
Yeah.
This is
There
awesome.
you go.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. So when you eat mango, you get those like little fibers stuck in your teeth. And it's like super annoying. You have to go floss your teeth after you eat pretty much any mango. And we were eating mango, and like, of course, we were like, oh man, really need to get some floss. And we're like flossing, and we're like, everyone hates flossing, right? This is not something that anyone enjoys doing, but everyone has to do it if you want to maintain your oral hygiene and your health. You have to do it. But so if we could create a device that makes flossing easier, that would be a huge hit. So we started brainstorming different ways of doing it, and it took us a long time, but eventually we came up with the concept of the InstaFloss, which is for people who haven't Googled it yet, you can go to instafloss.com and see it if you'd like to see how it works. Pretty much it uses water jets, which are aimed at your teeth. Now, there are other water flosser devices out there. Some people know the water pick is the most famous one.
Correct.
The difference between the InstaFloss and the water pick is a single stream of water. It's kind of like a toothpick that you need to trace the gum line of your mouth. And the most difficult part is, if you're going to do it properly, you really should use the water pick on the inside of the teeth, pointing outwards, so you get both the front and the back of your teeth. You need to do both top and bottom rows of teeth, and that is quite awkward, very difficult to do at the right way. You're supposed to keep the water jet at a 90-degree angle to the gum line, which is very difficult to do on the inside of your teeth. And it usually makes a big sprays water everywhere, makes a big mess. So people, they'll often buy a water pick and then they'll never end up using it because it's just a pain in the butt to use or to learn how to use properly. And it takes a little while to use it because you have to trace the top gum, the bottom gum, the inside, of both. So it's like 4 different, steps. So what we did was we created a device that aims the water streams for you, both top, bottom, in and out, and it keeps it at the perfect 90-degree angle at all times. And all you have to do is just move it from one side of your teeth to the other. In 10 seconds, it flosses all your teeth perfectly, more effectively than if you were, doing it yourself. And it's a lot easier and more comfortable. It doesn't make you bleed and all that stuff. So it's much easier, less painful, and much faster. So that's why we've done very, very well with the InstaFloss. We're not on the market yet. That is, we haven't manufactured the units yet. Okay. We have a fully functional prototype, which we've been perfecting. We're actually literally just got the final prototype yesterday, and we're about to start the mass manufacturing. So we should be delivering towards the end of the year for the people who pre-ordered it. You could reserve yours on InstaFloss.com if you like, and you'll get a nice big discount for doing so, and you'll get your unit by the end of the year or early next year. So we've done very, very well with it so far. We've been taking pre-orders for the past year. We launched a crowdfunding campaign last summer. And so far, we've raised more than $2.5 million for it in just 1 year, and that's on pre-orders, which is usually a lot less than you will sell. Once it's actually on the market. And
that's unbelievable, David. How are you marketing that? Because it's not out yet. It's not out. So how are you marketing that so people know how to pre-order it and when?
Right. So we're just doing digital marketing, like pretty much like anything else, and we have like videos of how it works, and the advantages of it, and we invite people to reserve their unit on our website, and in order, because people who want to get it first and they want to get a discount and they want to save some money, they can pre-order it and get it, to pre-order it in advance so that they'll be the first ones to get it once we actually complete the manufacturing, which we're literally about to start in a few weeks. So that's exciting.
That is exciting. I will literally become a customer because honestly, I'm probably one of the only people that actually enjoys flossing their teeth. Like I floss so much that the dental hygienist that just gave me a cleaning a few weeks ago, she was like, I don't even floss that much. Like, I'm neurotic about it. So it's just it's one of those things. It's like people that, don't leave the toothpaste cap on. I have to floss it's just a habit, right? It's just one of those things.
Right.
So
it's a good habit, though.
It's a great habit. And one of the reasons why I'm so, and why other people I think should really be interested in this is before I had braces, it was painful to floss my teeth because my teeth were so crowded. That caused gingivitis. It causes all kinds of issues, and people don't want to floss because it's difficult to floss, and it hurts. That's why people don't go to the dentist for decades at a time. And I know some of those people that are like, I'm not, because it's fear, right? It's fear, it's pain. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But hence the Invisalign, it's a lot easier because my teeth have obviously shifted. And I think that's why I'm obsessed now with really doing that. Because if I had braces as a child, it probably wouldn't have been an issue. But now I look forward to doing it because I've never really done it consistently before. prior to the braces, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is something
Right.
that can help people that have bleeding gums. And what's the science behind it? Like, have you gone and have?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, so just to give you a little story of how we did the science. So actually, the president of the American Dental Association
Very
is
cool.
on the board of our company. So, and she's been advising us about all the science, the scientific testing that we had to do in order for it to be accepted by the American Dental Association as a, as a effective dental product. And what we had to do is kind of gross, but what we had to do is we had to do experiments on pig teeth, because apparently pigs, actually people don't know this, but pigs have very similar teeth to humans. So a lot of dental experimentation is done on pig teeth. And so what we did was we went to the local butcher shop out in Hialeah, and we're like, hey, we want to buy some pig heads. And they're like, why do you want to buy some pig heads? Because usually they throw them away, And we're like, well, we explained what we want to do. They're like, okay. And so we had to have, in order to do the experiment, we had to have the pig heads, but cut this way, like along I don't know if people are watching the video, but like along the note, yeah, exactly. So it like gets cut in half the long way, along the snout, so that we have access to each side of the mouth of the teeth. And then what we did was we used dye to simulate the dirt in the teeth, that to see how effective the InstaFloss was at actually getting rid of the dirt, underneath the gum line and between the teeth. So that's how we did it. We would use dye, and then we would use the InstaFloss device on the teeth and see how effective it was at getting rid of the dye. So, and that's how most dental experimentations of this type work. And so there was a point in our office, because InstaFloss and Singular Sound are currently sharing an office, because it's my brother who's doing this, who's launching this new company. So there's a point in where we had the office freezer was filled with pig heads. It's so gross. Yeah. So we had visitors to our office, and they go into our freezer, and there's a bunch of frozen pig heads. It was really gross. But I'm glad that we're beyond that stage of the product development, so we don't have any pig carcasses in our office anymore.
But it's smart.
We managed to prove that it was. Yeah. Thank you.
That's smart, and you have to
we proved that it was effective.
Interesting. I love the science behind things. Probably the TV producer in me makes me inquisitive, because I have to ask a lot of questions when we're interviewing companies for the show. And not only that, every company that we do interview has to send pages and pages of research, which is then verified by my research department and Dr. Drew and all that other stuff, right? So when this gets up and running, I will definitely talk to the powers that be, because such an interesting, first of all, your story is just, you're not a regular entrepreneur that woke up one day and said, I want to be an entrepreneur. You've had a really interesting story behind that. Now, life overall, I know you're busy, but overall, does life seem pretty normal at this point than it did when all of this craziness was going on back in the day?
Right. Well, I guess as normal as life can be these days. I'm truly blessed, and I enjoy my life, very much right now. I have surrounded by amazing people I love, who love me, and you really can't ask for anything more than that. My businesses are doing very well, and a lot of exciting new things, to look forward to in the future. So, I'm very satisfied, very happy with, the work that I'm doing. I'm very happy that the work that I'm doing is actually creative, and that it's improving the lives of people. So, which is a much more satisfying thing than the work I was doing back in the War Dogs era, which was a lot more questionable about whether it was a good or a bad thing, I would say. Um, so yeah, I'm much happier, creating devices that people find useful, and and that improves their lives, rather than selling weapons and ammunition for people to kill each other.
But that improved
Yeah.
our lives as well. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
kind of helped. Overall, everything's helped that you've done.
Yeah.
Don't look at it like.
Right. Well, I mean, depends
I mean,
who you ask.
depends
Depends
on,
who you
right.
ask.
Depends on who you
Yeah.
ask. However,
Yeah.
all for the good.
That's very
of
true.
The
Yeah.
so everything technically,
Right.
in my mind anyway,
Mhm.
in my mind, everything you've done has been beneficial. So things happen
Well,
in
thank you.
life.
I appreciate
I'm
that.
sure I've done some
Yeah.
things to some extent which have been extremely questionable. But that's everybody.
Right.
Everyone always looks at themselves harder than they need to, at some point. I will say though
That's
that
true.
you're
That's
smoking hot, and I don't know if like you're dating or
Thank you.
anything, but like seriously, you're like the most eligible bachelor of our age bracket that I know. So what's going on in that department?
You're sweet. Thank you.
Like what is?
Well, right
yeah.
now I'm enjoying being single. Nothing wrong with that. It's what can I say? It must be the hair. That's I think that's what's that's what's getting you. It's my stylish hair. That
Totally.
it's the lady killer in me.
No, it's the eyes
Yeah.
and the great
I guess-
teeth.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
on?
it's all about the teeth, of
all
course.
about the teeth. Are you on dating apps right now? Because
Yeah.
if not, I told you I'm totally doing your profile.
Yeah, I am on dating apps, and I'm sure that, occasionally people might bump into me on Tinder or whatever, Bumble, the usuals. Yeah.
So what are you are you
Yeah.
clearly you're looking for that, otherwise I wouldn't be
Mhm.
having this conversation. But
Mhm.
what are you looking for in, because I know you have a child, which now
Yes,
she's older, correct?
she's 14 years old.
14, yeah. So it's important that whoever I'm sure comes into your life is wonderful to your daughter and things of that nature.
Of
So
course.
I'm going to pimp you out and try to find you an eligible bachelorette in South Florida, which,
Yeah.
let's face it, is not easy to do because there's a lot of crazy down here. I mean, we're both born and
Right.
raised in South Florida. It's let's
Sure.
just call a spade a spade. The dynamic is outrageous. So what is David
Sure.
Packouz looking for best qualities in a female?
Well, someone that you can have a conversation with, of course. I would say that's, good conversation, I would say, is the bedrock of a good relationship, because, if you can't have a conversation that is fulfilling for both people, then there's only so much Netflix you can watch, right?
Amen.
And there's only so much chilling that you can do, but before you have to actually talk to the person. So someone who has good conversational skills, interesting thoughts, is interested in the things I'm interested in, enjoys the things I enjoy. I also enjoy discovering new things. So I don't say, oh, I'm looking for someone who's exactly like me. I think that would be a bit boring too. So it's always nice to meet someone who introduces you to new worlds, to things that you've never heard of. And so I wouldn't say that I'm looking for anything super specific. I like to keep my mind open, and not not shoot down anything in particular. I will say I do have a few, I guess like everyone does, I do have a few deal breakers, like cigarette smoking is a deal breaker for me. Bad teeth. Bad teeth is definitely a
Right.
deal breaker. Poor dental hygiene,
Yes.
or poor hygiene in general,
Correct.
is definitely a deal breaker. But these are basic things. I think most people know that, and most people, it's probably a deal breaker for most people, I would hope. Maybe not the cigarette smoking. I mean, if you're a cigarette smoker, then that's fine. but yeah, I've never liked, cigarettes for me is like I can't kiss somebody who smokes cigarettes. So
Me neither. No
it's,
bueno.
a
It's
huge
not
deal
good.
breaker for me.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't judge. Obviously, everyone has, the right to, have their own vices. Everyone's got their own vice, and, nothing wrong with that. But, just not for me.
And you're
So,
pretty active.
so
I've
yeah,
noticed, like, yeah, no, I
yeah.
love that. And do you do a lot of yoga or jujitsu or judo? Like, I see you
Mhm.
doing a lot of, I'm not sure
Right.
exactly, but it's intriguing. So, is this,
Right.
tell me a little bit about this, because I've been
So, I
stalking
mean,
your social media.
well, right. So I have done martial arts in the past. I'm not doing it currently. But my main physical hobbies now is I'm doing contortion of all things. So I'm becoming more flexible. Which has been a long time goal of mine, because
Mm,
I've been working out for years. Like I've done weightlifting for probably more than a decade at this point.
mm.
And so there's you kind of plateau at that, with that, or at least you should, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of the getting bigger all the time school of thought.
Mm-hmm,
Like
mm-hmm.
I don't really want to look like a big hulking monster. I'm pretty happy with my muscular development at this point. So like as far as that, bodybuilding, I'm like more into maintenance mode. But as far as like my physical development, right now I'm focusing a lot on my flexibility, to be able to do all sorts of cool contortion, kind of stuff, like circus style. And I've also a little bit more recently, I've been doing the contortion class. I take a class with like a circus performer who does it, who teaches it. And I've been doing that for almost 2 years. So I'm like literally like 1 inch away from a full split, which I've never been able to do in my entire life. So you'll know because I'll post it on my Instagram as soon as it happens. I'll be very proud of myself.
I saw some really
But I
cool,
haven't
like,
haven't managed it yet.
there was some
Yeah.
aerial thing that I saw in a picture, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that is so neat. It's interesting that you talk about the
Yeah.
circus, because God rest my father's soul, but my
Yeah.
father was in Barnum and
Hmm.
Bailey Circus. He drove the funny cars
Really?
for Barnum and Bailey, and we're talking,
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
like way back in the day. And then I
That's awesome.
tried out for the circus
Sure.
when I was in the
Hmm.
fourth grade, just as like a thing. They wanted extras at clowns, and I guess young people are quite shorter, so I guess in full costume they can't tell. Like they wanted small people, right? For lack of better
Hmm.
words. So I tried out, and
Sure.
I got denied. So I was rejected as a
Oh.
clown, which
Oh.
really like hurt my ego. So,
Yeah.
but having said
Clown
that,
reject.
I'm a clown reject. But having said that, I've been
Yeah.
obsessed with Cirque du Soleil. I've gone several times when they were around. It's
Nice.
so sad that they're not there
Yeah.
anymore. But contortionist,
Right.
that is so interesting. So are you learning to like put your foot like in like, and is that more importantly
Yeah.
on your dating app? Like, contortionist will turn you into a pretzel in bed. Like, does that
No.
like?
So
I'm just kidding with you, David. Go ahead though. Explain
so
this to
I
me.
so I will say that I am taking a contortion class. I would not consider myself a contortionist just yet,
Okay.
because I started out from a place where I was barely flexible at all, because I'd been like lifting weights for like a decade without much stretching. Like most guys, we
Right.
just focus on the muscle and don't really do much else.
Mm-hmm.
So, I felt like around 2 years ago, I just kind of felt, like I couldn't soap my own back when I was taking a shower. And I was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked great, but I couldn't really do much because, I just wasn't very flexible, wasn't particularly graceful, because, I was kind of like just a single block of muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And, I thought, man, I need to get more flexible. So I started taking this contortion class. and it's been amazing. Like I've come a huge way, a very long way since I started. I was not able to get into any bridge at all, like when I first started, without like someone holding me up. And now I could do like a full bridge with, pretty, and at least for me, it's, a pretty extensive bridge, you could call it. Um, I'm like 1 inch away from a full split. And, like I started out at like a 90-degree angle of my legs like this. And now like I'm almost at like 180 degrees. So that, I've made a lot of progress, but I would definitely not consider myself a contortionist just yet. I can't like step on my own head or anything like that, just yet, but another year or two, maybe.
So as far as the instructors, because this is really interesting, this whole topic, because this is not just like taking a yoga class. This is a class on, okay. So what is the ultimate goal in, like, what is a move that other than the split, right? Which is a huge accomplishment. I don't think I've done one in like 20 years, but what's something that you'd want to achieve as in that class goes that you can't do now, let's say?
Well, definitely the split is a big one. Also the straddle, where your legs go to the sides. I'm much further away from that one than the split. I'm probably like maybe like a foot off the ground with the straddle, maybe a half a foot, more like a foot, off the ground with a straddle. So that's going to take me probably another year or so to get down there. But the thing is that with flexibility, is that it allows you to do a whole lot more with anything else that you do, right? And I'm not just talking about in bed. I know you're thinking about that.
No,
right?
Totally not, actually. Totally not.
Right.
Totally not.
Yeah, but it definitely
my
helps.
mind, it goes crazy. But no, the flexibility from, I'm thinking actually from my ballet days way back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I was able to do the straddle and go up against the wall with and I was able to do all that. And there's something to be said with when you're just working out in a gym and you're not stretching, it's so much easier to obtain an injury. Whereas the opposite, when you're limber, and that's why people are in the best shape of their life when they do Pilates and yoga, because if you do have something, your body's able to recover from that. So overall, I would say you're probably in better health doing that than anything, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the big things that I'm doing with the flexibility is I also a little bit about a year after I started the flexibility class, I started doing a tumbling class. So I'm learning how to do, cartwheels and handstands and flips and stuff like that. And I'm still somewhat in the beginning stages of that. So nothing super impressive just yet, but it's like I almost have a backflip. And like to do a backflip, you need to be super flexible, going backwards. So, they kind of all feed into each other, all these skills. And, to be able to do all these things, you need the flexibility to do that. And of course, to be it helps with dancing and things like that as well. So
this is really
it's kind of like a foundational skill.
And this is beyond interesting to me, considering that Cirque du Soleil is no more, right? So people can't go to see these performers. Like, what are they all doing? Number one, but number two, maybe that's the next biggest thing as far as classes go. Who knows? I mean, maybe that's something
I highly recommend it.
You could that's another project of yours maybe in the future. Like, I would take a class like that. I mean, there's only so much yoga and downward dog you can do before you get a little bored. I mean, how about, flipping upside down and doing an aerial? I mean, I don't know, but it sounds pretty cool. So you do a lot and you travel a lot.
It is awesome. Yeah. Well, I used to travel a lot. Yeah.
Now 2 companies, and you're pretty busy. But I've seen some nice pictures that you've taken in unusual places. So you're a well-rounded guy. You're clearly intelligent. I bet your family is super proud of you, and that's great that you're in business with your brother, which obviously is someone you can trust as opposed to the former
Yeah,
thing that happened.
absolutely.
We've all been there. We've all gone in
Right.
business with people like
Yeah.
on the real that, myself included, that are just like, what was I mean, things go south really quick, right? But now it sounds like
Hmm.
you're in business with someone that you can trust 1,000%, and that's really
Yeah,
helping to work towards something and build
absolutely.
something. I can't wait to buy this
Yeah.
InstaFloss because, like I said, I have 4 weeks left. I am stoked. I have
Hmm.
all kinds of stuff I have to do, like taking the. Are you familiar with Invisalign and how that all works? Did you ever have braces as a kid?
Yeah. So I had braces when I was a teenager. My brother Ellie, he had Invisalign. So I am aware of Invisalign. The good thing about the InstaFloss actually is that it's really good for people with braces because you can't get the string past
Yep.
the brace. So you really need to use like a water flosser in order to properly floss your teeth. So the InstaFloss is particularly good for people with braces or with teeth that are difficult to floss. If they're like super crowded or
And
things like
those
that.
like permanent retainers, because it's the same thing. Like after you get your braces off,
Yeah.
you've got to be able to. No, I love this whole
Right.
idea. I think this
Right.
is great. Oh, Justin wants to know when you're coming to a fight. I know I've been telling you have to come. What are you doing
Right.
next Friday?
Right. I don't know. I'd have to check my calendar, but I'm open to invitations.
Okay. I will be there with my Skulls and Stiletto banner, and then I probably will be in the back interviewing people.
Awesome.
But I would love to invite you and get you VIP to a Titan fight. And are you downtown Miami or?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun.
I am current. Yeah. I think there's like a little delay, which
Oh,
is I think why we're
gotcha.
like talking over each other. But yeah, yeah. I am currently in North Miami,
Like Aventura area,
which
or?
is yeah, a little bit south of Aventura. But yeah.
Okay. So this is at the Intercontinental downtown. You know where the Intercontinental is, right? Right by.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I know where that is. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll talk about that off Facebook. But if it's something that you wanted to do, it'll be
Sure.
fun. And there's actually some former. The fight card is interesting because there's some former UFC fighters that are trying to get back into the fighting world. And Titan is a professional fighting outlet, as is UFC or Bellator or whatnot. So it's interesting because they're veterans in the sport, and there's a lot of interesting people there. So
Mhm.
I'm like
Cool.
loving you, David. Like, you're amazing. You've done so much.
Thank you.
For someone my age, I look back at my life and it makes you realize, I mean, I've done a lot, but then hearing your story, it's intriguing, and there's been so much that you've done, and in my opinion, it's all been positive. So, I think
Yeah.
maybe another book on the horizon, possibly for you. I don't know. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just really interesting. You're an interesting person, and you don't.
Thank you.
Obviously there was a movie written about a portion of your life, and there's so many people, and everyone has a story. But I think there's still more to your story that I think intrigues people, that people want to know more, if that makes sense. Write a book, another
Well.
something like the next, like post
Yeah.
War Dogs, like post
Right.
what's going on now. So intriguing, and I can't wait to see what you're gonna do next.
Well, thank you. I have lots of plans.
Love it.
Hopefully they'll work out, and then you'll find out because they work out. So yeah.
Always, you can't fail. I mean,
Yes.
there's no such thing as failure. Listen, we've all gone through ups and downs, but I hope that you'll think of me and
Mhm.
hopefully come on the show again, because I think that you've got such great ideas that are interesting to all types of people. One has to do with hygiene. One has to do with music. I mean, we're talking about totally different, which is so great. It's awesome. So in your portfolio, let's say 10 years from now, I'd love to see also what's in there as well. So congratulations on everything you've done.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. And stay smoking
appreciate
hot.
it.
I'm going to try to get you hooked up with a really great eligible bachelorette in South Florida. I know that's difficult because the selection down here is a little.
Mhm.
Trust me, I know from dating myself.
I'm sure you'll find them. Yeah.
No, I've been on all the
Yeah.
apps, the Bumbles and all the, I know what kind of
Mhm.
South Florida scum can go on there. It's quite amusing, actually. I have
Mhm.
stories we could tell off the air of horrible dates. But anyway, eligible bachelor David Packouz, thank you so much for coming on Skulls and Stilettos.
Thank you.
And I hope to maybe see you soon. Maybe we'll do lunch. We'll have lunch.
Yeah, likewise. Sounds like a
Perfect.
plan. I look forward to it.
I look forward
Thank
to
you,
it as
Janine.
well, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.